Before I get it too far together, I got to do some continuity testing here. So we'll test this jumper. It works in that socket too. That's good. We'll test this. Good. 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 Come on. Good. I don't have the light bulbs in here, so I can't test a jump. And I gotta see if this gauge has continuity. I know it does because I just tested it. Yeah. And then the ammeter is supposed to be isolated, but it does have continuity through the gauge. But what I don't want is continuity to ground on either one of these. And I don't have that for sure. But if I go from that ground to there, so that's isolated as it should be, but continuity through it. So right now everything's checking out. I just want to do a part way. I might as well check this socket here. Good. Good. All right. So this is going to be try 2 with the dash. I found a company in Canada that remakes this thing. It's 180 bucks for the circuit board. The circuit board, not nothing else. The circuit board. And $20 or $25 shipping. That seemed excessive when you can go buy aftermarket little for 30 bucks, little gauges and put under your dash. So I'm just trying to make this last one more time. And instead of an aerial jumper from ground to connect the ground between here, I decided to make a little trace extender there to try to do it. So I think it'll work. Now I got all the light bulb sockets in. So I'll check those for continuity. Make sure that I've got something going across them. That's the least important one right there. Come on. All right. So all the light bulb sockets just checked out. Next thing is to put the module, the voltage regulator module in here. And of course hook it up and try it. See if I get anything other than one blinky light that wasn't supposed to be lighting up. I don't really have a good way of checking these other than, you know, you stick your probe in it and you shouldn't really see anything to ground. It's supposed to be a bleed off, right? So you want to, there could be something, but not direct to ground. Like that one's got something, a farad or two. These are just basically capacitors that are basically noise filters for the gauge set. I won't know 100% for sure until it's in, until I see how the gauges behave to the voltage limiter regulator, as they'd call it. It seems to be regulating, best I can test it, it seems to be doing something when I test it by itself. So I'm hoping. But right now, this is the ground feed, so I should see something to ground, because that's ground, right? And other things here are ground. But I shouldn't see anything to positive, so this is positive, and there's also a positive peg right here, so I shouldn't see anything there, and I don't. And I shouldn't. That I should, but it's not as That's the regulated voltage right there. So there should be a connection there. This positive side shouldn't have anything to ground right here. It should have it to right here. It does. And it should have it to right here. And it does. So I believe it's going to work. And the reason from ground to here, the regulated side, you used to see little voltages. There's actually like a little heating coil in here that shorts out, and it gets hot, and it causes this thing to waver, which is how it regulates the voltage. It's actually a mechanical voltage regulator. It's kind of interesting how they work. But so yeah, it's testing out okay, and off here it was varying voltage kind of all over the place. I couldn't tell that it was actually knocking it back to 5 volts, which is what it's supposed to be doing, but it was doing something. So I'm fairly confident I'm going to get more than just that turn signal light lighting up this time. So basically, I didn't do this repair at first where that trace was. I just had this aerial jumper in under here and connected over here. That's how I was doing the ground. It's a little cumbersome. I decided to make it a little more compact. So I can't really make a very thorough video to show this now, but my ammeter has been the one gauge that works. These 3 do not. I can't run the truck right now because I've got the part of the cooling system apart and the carburetor off there, because I'm also going to put in a mechanical gauge for oil, stuff like that. But I can turn on the headlight switch, right? So we can see that there's a discharge on the battery. Nothing's happening there. But I can put the key in here and watch that gas gauge, because the other two can't, there's nothing that can happen with them, but watch that fuel gauge because it hasn't been working. But I turn the key to on. There's a discharge on the ammeter and the fuel gauge is starting to move. Okay. But also what I haven't had working was I had one that would work when it wasn't supposed to, and I could control it with the dimmer and such. But so I think I've got it corrected. I mean, it's too much daylight to really see if there's any dash lights going on there. That's would be pretty bright because they're not very bright to begin with, right? And I've got my door open, so obviously my dome light's not functioning, but I think I got something going on now, which I didn't before have, so that's good. Now, because it scares me, I'm going to partially disassemble this. This ammeter gauge, these 2 metal rods come through this aluminum housing, and the aluminum housing holes are just slightly bigger than those rods, and then it relies on this, it's not wood, but whatever they make, this printed circuit board material to, all these fasteners are position this board to where those holes center over the other holes, and it relies on that to keep these from touching this aluminum, because these go straight down to the alternator and battery. This is a major burn you up in your truck, kill you thing. So before I permanently install this, I'm going to pull up one at a time and put some insulative material down to fully protect it from touching this. I'm not just going to be like olden days, they just didn't worry about it, and if something bad happened, it happened, right? Well, I'm going to put a little insulator in there and a little insulator in there just to make sure that I don't have an accidental short with high amperage from the battery, because that would just ruin everyone's day to have a truck fire. So I got this heat shrink tube that I'm able to fit down around that, clear down inside there. I just won't shrink it. I'll just cut it off and have that, and I put a little piece down in there, and that way it gives me a little extra layer of protection between this and that metal.